I really enjoyed the trip, and the younger people should come to see what the ancestors went through, because I never knew what they went through. I heard about it, but I didn't never see it. But just excuse me too,
No,
because I do get emotional about it.
it's fine.
But it's something to see, all right? Just, it is something to see, but I enjoy it.
What's going on, everybody? We're here wrapping up another Maximum Impact Travel Experience in Accra, Ghana. And I tell you, we talk about bridging the gap, and that's really what we're doing. Creating these experiences for others like us to be able to come and see the continent of Africa, and Ghana in particular, in person, see it for themselves, and have a five sensory experience. It's much more than a tour, it is an experience, and that is exactly how we create it, that's how we curate it, and that's the experience that we want you to have. So today, we are talking to another phenomenal group. This group has been here and they've had their own experiences, and I'm going to give them the opportunity to share. Well, good. I guess it's still morning, right? It is morning.
Yeah.
Well, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Well, we're about to wrap up this experience, and all of you have stories that are unique to you and your journey. And I can't wait for everybody to be able to hear your own experiences. And so thank you for joining us here with the Maximum Impact Travel Experience. And I guess we can jump into this. Mr. Tim.
Hello.
All right. So let's talk about it.
Yeah.
How has this experience been for you?
This experience has been wonderful. I'm someone who always talked about wanting to travel and everything. I've tried to get some of my friends to go, and sometimes, things didn't work out that way. So this is my first time on the continent of Africa, and you hear a lot of negative narratives about it. And I said, when I saw Jay's YouTube, I was like, oh, okay, it's a travel group. Let me, and I was looking through his videos and stuff, and I was like, oh, okay, like it made me comfortable, right? The first thing that stuck out to me was, oh, where are we going to sleep, right? And that our sleeping arrangements was very comfortable. It was nice. And then just all of the history. I'm a history teacher. So just having that opportunity to, learn more and, even some things I didn't know, so, and then now I have the opportunity to go back and teach, what I've learned, and even, continue my own studies, so seeing just many of the excursions, the slave dungeons, that was the one that definitely stuck out to me. We had the wall, we had the, so you'll see it when you come, but the African wall, I love how they had African Americans and Africans on this, giant wall, and had young kids. It's like 11, 12-year-old kids explaining all of these great African American leaders, throughout history, so those were the two that stuck out to me. And we had the nightlife, we had everything.
We saw you.
Yeah. We had the night little two-step, little 1-2 step. So you can go have the nightlife. That's it's safe, it's nice. Everybody we encountered was very nice and gracious. So I definitely would come back, And I love even the pricing and stuff. He was very flexible with that. So I would encourage everybody to come.
Did you ever feel unsafe?
No, not one time. Nope. We went out. But
Did
11.
you see Tarzan?
No, we didn't see none of that. No, we got banks. You have a lot of things a lot of the amenities you have, in America. You have, here you have, banks everywhere. You have clubs. You got people just out. You got the pools. It's very modern, where you go. And then we went to other places and we saw different lifestyles and stuff. But you got more immersed with the culture, which I love, right? So it was. For me, I read a lot, but you actually have that opportunity to, get that real life experience, which,
I was going to ask you that. Why do you think it's important for, let's say, people, you're a millennial.
Yes.
And millennials, but then also the generation after you, because a lot of people think that the millennials are like Generation Z or Y, one of them.
Mm-hmm.
But why do you think it's so important for, say, teens and maybe early 20-somethings to take a trip like this? How do you think that'll benefit them long term?
I just think, I think you're definitely with the history part. You just knowing your history and, just knowing, being connected to your culture. Like a lot of things we do in the States, you be like, okay, these dance moves, this culture, this thing, like it's just a lot of things make more sense, I think, and also it gives you that self-esteem and just, I think it's just fun too, just come and see it, so you see it for yourself, right? Like I said, there's a lot of narratives that gets pushed about Africa and stuff, so definitely, this trip has totally, shattered many of those narratives. So just come see it for yourself, have a good time, learn, so that would be my.
Because some people think that all you do is you come here and learn, but you had a good time.
It was a great balance, right?
Yeah.
That's what I love. It was a great balance. Like food, introducing different food, clothes. I feel like I really got immersed in the culture. So I got a little bit of everything.
Well, that's all right. I mean, and again, hearing it is something that I know how we plan it, but then when you hear someone say their own experience, it's something we couldn't have even planned. Your experience, the way that you absorb it is very unique, and I think that's the part that's so important. And when people understand that they're going to have a unique experience and something that you'll always be able to carry with you. So when you come back, man, hey, you might, I don't know,
have my own little group.
You might have your own group.
Yeah.
You might, I don't know, you might come back and meet Mrs. Tim.
Hey, that may be the plan. It's a lot of them out here now. I'm
gonna let you say that.
Yeah. It's a lot of that's another perk. That's a lot of them. Yeah.
Oh man. All right. So let's see. I'm trying to think. I know we have two fascinating stories right here and right here. And I'm trying to think where I want to go first. Because both of them are so powerful that it will... Let's see. Let's come right here.
I'll go first since I'm the least likely to do all the talking. So I have to save the time for the young lady. This experience has been unimaginable. I mean, I couldn't put a stamp on it, label on it, or anything. It's been a mind-blowing experience to the fact that it opened my mind to, the things that I thought was going on here in the continent of Africa, but to actually get that experience and to see firsthand, it really enlightens you. And to come here at the time that we came, I wish we had come earlier when we were younger, but no, time is better than now. And to, like the tours, we speak of the tours, the dungeons and the walls. I mean, when you finish those tours and experiencing, viewing the wall, you actually feel the spirit of the people here, and I mean the ancestors, when we did the river, the slave river, I mean, that wasn't the only time I ever felt that experience was when I went to Pearl Harbor, when the Arizona went down and so many people lost their lives. This was more powerful than that, and the cleansing, all that, it just changed me inside, I don't know, I'm leaving here with a different view. I'm leaving here with a different attitude. And I'm leaving here knowing that the folks that didn't make it, and I'm not talking about the ones that made it, but the folks that didn't make it, how much they sacrificed that they gave just so that I can be here to sit and tell this part of my story. There's a lot of things that the books aren't telling you, and I suggest and I encourage anyone that's watching this to give yourself a chance, come over here and see it firsthand for yourself, because there's nothing like that real experience. Throw them books away. The books are deceiving, and you got to hear it firsthand.
Well, I really ditto what both Tim and Mike said. They both spoke on some of the same things that I wanted to speak on. And since he ended with the Slave River, when I walked that path going to the Slave River, I actually felt like I felt the weight of their pain or something. I wasn't expecting to get emotional, but I got very emotional. It's like you could just feel, like going through there and thanking our ancestors and thinking about what they went through and what they must have been feeling after hearing in the dungeons, what they went through. It was very, very emotional. I was very, very moved, and I think it's something that everyone should experience. And even with the riding through the what we call them streets, but riding through the roads and going through the different regions and seeing their everyday life, it makes you appreciate what we have so much. I think that both sides have something to offer the other, but in retrospect and having conversations with some of the others going through this week, to some extent, I feel they're even better off because what we gained in America in terms of certain privileges and medical treatments and things that's readily available, the people here have what we lost, and that was our strength, our determination, our appreciation for just life, not for the things in life, but just life. When we was going and riding down the roads, even though their work was harder than what we had, they were happy. They were playing. They were smiling. They have been the most hospitable people, and I felt very, very welcome from day one. And so I think we do have to change that narrative and bring more people here. And I appreciate what you're doing, Jay, because I probably would not have made it here if I hadn't run across your YouTubes and started following you last year. I always wanted to come, but I was hesitant because of what we've been taught, and to come by myself not knowing what to expect. But you make it easy for a person to come and actually live Africa. And I'm looking forward to visiting other parts of Africa and having my children come back. I think if even if the females don't make it, I want all my sons to make it here so that they can bring their children and teach them, what Africa is. It's not what we were told, like Mike said in the books. We were taught to believe that they didn't like us.
Right.
And they probably was taught that we didn't like them, but it's nothing like that. And it has so much to offer. It has beauty, it has struggle, it has strength, it has abundance. I mean, like the fruit here is so much sweeter.
Yeah.
And you got abundance of different types of foods that you can explore. I tasted a little. I'm not fully there, but I have tasted some, and what I have tasted has been good. And hopefully as I come back, I'll learn to explore and learn to love some of the other culture aspects of Africa, like the food. And I got a little bit of the dress, take and bring it home. So I think if you can, even if you have to save, I think you need to just take that year or whatever and make it a point to come here at least once, because it does make you go back home differently. And it makes you appreciate what you have at home differently, because you have some that are hours away from a hospital and they can't get readily, 911 service like we can. And I think the younger ones need to learn to appreciate this, because I've seen babies out there on the roads right along with their parents, and they're working at a young age, and they're carrying. What amazes me, always knew they're carrying stuff on their head. But until I came here, I didn't realize the significance of it. I mean, they all do it, and I mean to very large capacities. I can't balance a book on my head. More or less a container of bread and sodas and with ice and
a baby wrapped around. I saw one lady with
two
one in the
babies.
front and the
Yes,
back.
I saw that.
Yeah.
And I would love my grandchildren to see that, so they can know, because I think the games and the things that they push in front of our kids in America has taken away their culture. You know, if you tell them to walk around the block or to walk to school, they're gonna look at you like, I'm not walking. But these people here walk all the time, and they're healthier. They're not as sick. So I think we owe it to ourselves and to our families and to the generations to come to get them here to see what we are really about. Because, like Tim said, we're not that different. We see a lot of things that we do and things that we say, they do it and say it too. And just one thing that's been running through my head, when we went on one of the tours, he showed us the mimosa plant when we were at the slave ground. And it's a plant that is very beautiful with leaves, but if you touch it, it closes up. And I know that that's what he wanted us to get from that, but I also using it right now as a way how they tried to take what is ours and make it something different. Because in America, mimosa is alcohol and orange juice.
Oh.
That's not what we know it as in America. They think of drinking. This is protection. So, if I had time, I probably could think of other comparisons, but it's amazing how they have taken our heritage and changed it to be more negative as opposed to the positive that it's been. So, definitely come and learn. Definitely come and learn.
I mean, when I hear all these stories and I hear what you're taking back, again, you don't know how people are going to respond.
Right.
And so when I'm listening, I'm like, wow, this is, you know, it's a, I take every story, you know, every group. I don't forget any group. I can tell stories about each group from the first group back in 2019. And it's like, wow, you know, so to know that your family is going to get a different narrative, to know that your family, when you get married, have children, and your students,
Yes.
Yeah.
your students who are getting that the history, however, is coming in, you know, through curriculum. But now you can put a different perspective on it. You have pictures, videos, all kinds of things that you can share with them, and then it's coming from someone who looks like them. Many of them, someone who looks like them, which even lends more credibility. Because a lot of times people will say, "Well, have you been to Africa?" And no, I've never been to Africa. But you say, "Oh, I've been to Ghana, as a matter of fact, and this is the history. I've been to these different countries, you know, all these
Get the
different
pictures. This is where I went. This is what I was doing. This, yeah.
And that's something. That's a value that transcends economics, because now it's a knowledge value. So just understand you're in a position to even influence your peers and your coworkers. You know, the people who work with you in the teaching profession. You're able to go back and say, hey, if you really want to know, go see for yourself. So that's why this is so important. And then listening to you. Now, this is everybody's first time?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So everybody's first time. Now, that's something to hold on to, because we're going to talk to the Doyles in a second, because you made a statement to me that really stuck out to me.
Yeah.
And then you've been living the journey with him, but I've been watching you too. I've been watching you and how you've enjoyed yourself. See, I've been paying attention. But this is what it's all about. And if we aren't ambassadors, nobody's going to be ambassadors for us. Because we have access to the resources in America, because we have the ability to do things that we can travel the world. That Blue Passport gives us the ability to travel the world. Many of us have been to Asia, been to Europe, been to Australia, some of us been to Antarctica, but have yet to come and see this continent with more than 50 countries and thousands of cultures and thousands of languages and so much history, that what it can do is when you tap into this, it can empower you back in America or Canada or the UK or wherever, or here on the continent, because we do transcontinental, encourage that travel within the continent, because you'd be amazed how many people, even on the continent, don't go to other countries within Africa. So, all right, I'm coming over here, and I want to talk to the Doyles.
Okay.
And so, Mr. and Mrs. Doyle, you all come to us by way of which state?
Louisiana.
Louisiana.
Yes.
All right, now, Mr. Doyle, you said to me, you just recently celebrated a birthday.
Yes. 78.
78.
August 4th.
August 4th, and
Yes.
this is your first time on the continent.
Yes. I've been on, 4 continents? And this is the first time I ever set foot on this one. Won't be the last. If I live, it won't be the last.
That's right. Well, you got plenty of life.
I guarantee. As long as I'm healthy, But all I can say, what experience, piggybacking off of what they said, what experience, nothing like it. There's no such truth in it's just for young folks. I'm an old folks and couldn't have been better. I enjoyed myself here. I felt the warmth of the people. I enjoyed the food. Oh man, the beauty is outrageous. So what more could you say? But you know, what word could I use? It looked like my vocabulary get all
you
screwed
used
up.
all of them. No, it's not screwed up. You used them all. Like, I'm trying to
That's
find
bad.
one myself.
It's magnificent, man. It's amazing. It's unbelievable, you know. But what's most unbelievable, how they lied to us. I learned so much about me out there, you know. And when we got to that Slave River, it touched me for some reason, man. I don't know.
When you say they lied to us at 78, explain that at
The
78.
books that I went to school, that I learned, things that they taught me in school. That's why it's always great to travel, and you learn more of experiencing things than you ever learn in a book. Because if I had to live life off of the books I was taught in school, I would be no place.
What did they tell you about Africa?
They told us Africa was the worst place in the world. Only was jungle and monkeys. I haven't seen none yet. I haven't seen the monkeys. All I see is great, beautiful people. I couldn't meet any better person than Morris from here.
We're gonna bring him in a second.
He's one of the greatest of them all. I enjoyed every minute. He's so kind, polite, and helpful. You know, he guided my wife through the up the mountain there. You know, and when she was talking about giving up, he just said, "Come on, you can make one more step." I'm pleading and begging, and he begging. That's how we got her up the mountain.
So both of y'all pleading and begging.
She gave up and said, "I ain't going no further." I was ready to say, "Wait a minute, you Rosemary Parks or somebody?" She sit there. I ain't going nowhere. I'm going back. I was up there on the other one begging, "Come on, please, come on, talk to her, Morris." And it was just enjoyable. And finally, she got up and we. At our age, we made that train. We did the canopy.
Yeah.
And man, it was great. You know, I enjoyed every minute. What more can I say? I just can't find the words to say thank you, Jay. You know, because man, I told you, I've been watching you since you started. I was there when you went to the other people's house. I was there when you went to Tanzania or somewhere. Everywhere you went, I followed you.
Wow.
I got in trouble for it a lot of times.
Oh, so he was watching.
Yeah, she kept on paying the door. You watching that guy, Jay? I said, yeah, I'm going with him. Because, you know, I felt comfortable, you know, just talking, didn't know you. And I said, I feel comfortable with him. Because I tried other companies, and they always come back to you. And I told her, and I tell the truth, the other companies was less, way less. And I told her, I said, I don't care. I'm going with Jay.
That's what I'm talking about.
Something about him, I say, I say, you look like a good young fella there. I say, I think I trust him. I said, I don't know these other people. I looked up one company, I saw they was based right there in Canada. And there was a whole, I told my wife, I said, they're in Canada. And when I looked at the staff, I looked up the staff, I didn't see nobody look like me. I'm being honest.
I understand.
No one. Look up the people we stand.
How was that started?
I don't want to put down before I leave. No, you'll see the staff is not. But I knew Canada. I'm familiar with Canada. I've been to Canada. I'm familiar, you know, and I kept on. Everything came back to you. So you're the one that convinced me. When I saw you from 219, when you started, I started.
Wow.
You gave me that start, you know. And it's not, I like to tell people, no, it's not only for young folks. Older folks can learn too. You can learn from a baby. And I've learned from many here. Because I just love these people. They're so warm and accepting, you know. And that really touched me. And I would like to touch on the Slave River and the dungeons, but it hurt. You know, just that to imagine what those people came through. And I'm thankful that my ancestors passed the test, because a lot of them didn't make it. I'm glad they was able to, whatever they did it. They survived it.
And so many of them.
Right.
Yeah.
So in the thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, there's many died.
Yeah.
But whoever I'm connected to, They had the willpower, and I'm here today. I know I never thought, they never thought that we ever see this continent. Because all we ever learned about the continent was garbage.
Yeah.
It wasn't no wild coming to. And look at it. Look at it. It's more beautiful. Can't find any beautiful place. And I've been to many. To me, this even make Hawaii look like a hut. The beauty of here, the warmth of here. And I've been to Hawaii. And I tell you, nothing like this. Every place I've been, I've never been to anything like this. That's the truth. That's the God's truth. Because I love it. I'm coming back.
Yeah, normally what happens when people leave, they think about it. You ought to be thinking about this.
Yeah.
Next week, you be thinking about Morris and what Morris is
It's me
doing.
for Christmas.
Hey,
It's
well, I'll be around.
I'm telling you, I'm coming back. Nothing
I
will
look
shut
for-
me out.
You know, I look forward to it because there's so many people who do come back afterwards, and sometimes they come on their own or however they decide.
Oh, yeah.
And then we'll all get back together. Like a few weeks ago, we had a couple. They brought their whole family back, and so they came back on their own, and then we all got together for dinner. It was so good to see them because we were like, we call this the gateway experience and introducing the continent.
And
So,
it is.
Yeah.
It is. I tell you, it's experience of an experience.
Well, Mrs. Doyle.
Well, okay, like my husband said, and the rest of them, he was always on Jay. I said, who is Jay? That's who we going to Africa with. I said, okay. I said, well, you go on and do whatever, and we'll go. So we are here today. This week we came on the 4th. We got here on the 4th. And you all took us up on the 5th. So it was very experienced that I seen. And the staff was nice. You and Morris and the driver and all of them was very nice to us. And I enjoyed the trips that, we went on and seen so much that I have never seen. And when, like, we went to the dungeon and to the river, it did bring greatness. From our ancestors. But I really enjoyed the trip, and the younger people should come to see what the ancestors went through, because I never knew what they went through. I heard about it, but I didn't never see it. But just excuse me, too.
No,
Because I do get emotional about it.
it's fine.
But something to see, all right? You're okay. It is something to see, but I enjoy it. I laugh, I cry, and I met the people that was on the trip with me, and they were very nice. And the places that we went to was really expensive. The food, well, some of the food they say was good. Well, I wasn't gonna eat it because don't eat meat. And I knew that was from the U.S.
Oh, got it.
So because I didn't want to try anything that was strange. Not that was strange. That's something I had never eaten before.
Yeah.
But the experience. It was very nice, and I'm looking forward to come back again.
Well, I tell you, it's something to hear how it impacts. Because again, you don't know until someone tells you.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate the two of you coming
We appreciate you.
and trusting
Yes.
us with this journey, because you never know. And I appreciate everybody, because you could have gone with anyone,
Yes.
but for whatever reason,
You
were
won the
supposed to go.
prize. You
There
won.
you- I truly, I truly won the prize, because for me, the experience and seeing it, it's like with every one of these experiences, and I won't say tours, with every experience, it adds something to me. So when I go back, I'm able to say, look and see. I know what the books tell you. I know the books told you this. I know even many people who look like us have told you stories.
Yes.
Many people who've educated us have told you stories, but they've never been, in particular in West Africa, they've never
Right.
been, or they haven't spent extensive
can't.
time here and really been among the people. Because if they had been here, then there's no way they could come back and
Right.
tell that story
Right.
And so that's what you find. So that's,
Yes.
Experience tops it
Experience.
all. When you
Yes.
experience something. A book that don't teach you so much until you experience it. That's when you know. That's when it all click. That's when you really get it. And I never thought at this age I'd be in the learning process, but life is a learning process until you're not here anymore. Because I've learned so much here that I see that my books lied to me.
mm,
I just tell my wife that all the time. And we leaving on her birthday, her 17th.
really?
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
And and that's the thing. I think it's important for us to understand that I don't think we respect our elders' stories as much as we should. Because sometimes society will say, okay, well, as you're moving into your senior years, well, what does life look like in the rearview mirror? But what I'm discovering is that more and more people are coming in their 60s and 70s and 80s, and they're saying, wait a minute, there's still much more to be told.
Yes.
And that's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm
Searching for answers.
searching for answers, and then teaching us at the same time. Because there are things that we didn't understand. I'm Gen X. Things that we didn't understand, and I'm hearing more and more that about what was not taught about Africa. And sometimes we would get upset. Well, why didn't you teach us? Why didn't our elders teach us all of these different things? Well, they didn't know.
Right.
They didn't know, or they were mistaught, or they. I remember my aunts used to. I'm not African. I'm not African. I'm not African.
Most Americans would say that because we didn't know. We weren't aware. We were blind. When you're blind, you just can't see. Because most Americans say that. Because coming up through life, I even would say I ain't African because we have been brainwashed. So
I think too is the fact that it's a stereotype.
well,
Because when you get in America, you have different tones of skin.
yep.
Okay, and that right there is the problem. Because you got your brown skin, your lights. Nobody wants to be dark. To
Right.
be dark is like an
Like
insult.
ugly because
Yeah,
we were taught that it was ugly.
And see, and that's been the issue. But when you come over here and you truly hear how you ended up the way you ended up, it wasn't because your parents or your ancestors had it easy. It's because somewhere down the line it started to become a mixture. But when if you go all the way back to the beginning, you're sharing that dark skin like everybody else. And that's what when we were taught. I know when I was coming up, and I'm in that 60 group, when TV was black and white. So you didn't see many black girls on TV. You saw white girls with long hair. That's what they were pushing you to. You had to look like that.
That's why so many black ladies, they want that long hair. They want, and blonde hair and stuff.
So these are some of the ways that we were conditioned, and you need
Very
just like
much so.
anything else, you need to be placed somewhere else to be reconditioned. And coming back here is that place.
It's a process.
Yeah.
Got the mind clicking in different directions.
You know?
What I love about here, people is people.
Mm.
That's touching my heart. You don't see that, this, that. All you see here is people.
That's true.
Mhm.
That's
all
very true.
you see is human beings. And that's the greatest of it all. That's what touching me, I could just live here forever. Because I fit in.
You just might. I have a feeling you might, because your daughter lived here for a while.
Yeah, she coming back, and I told her.
Yeah.
But I can live here forever too, because you fit in. I fit in. I'm looked at when I walk in places, people not looking at me like I don't belong.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
Like in Canada and different places, then they turn around and everybody.
In D.C.?
In Iowa, Nebraska, South Dakota, North Dakota, been lived in them all. Idaho, you walk in there, no one was there, but 9 places I lived, no one but us too. And walk in places and everybody, they don't say anything. I guess it's just an action because they ain't used to seeing this. Back in the day, I went to a lot of places. They used to rub on my skin because they had never seen blacks but on TV. Up in northern Minnesota, they have never seen black folks but on TV. And when I went up there, I said, it's not going to rub off. Ain't no need of rubbing. They used to see us on TV because they was always taught you know, we 3/5.
Right.
And they feel that way today in the U.S. They still feel we 3/5. The situation going on, I tell a lot of people, you know, about the Reconstruction, 65 to 75, when you had black governors. There was a black governor of Louisiana, state representative, and that's when the Klan was born. When he pulled the Union troops out, and the South went to the Klans and all those other hate groups, and looked like I hope and pray. That's why I want to find a place to come. I'm glad I came here, because it looked like it's leading that way again. It looked like it's leading right to another Reconstruction, because black folks in America got their fake freedom. We really think we're free. But live any way we want to live, that's not so. You know, do anything you want to do, that's not so. Because let my child and let the white child get in trouble and see who get the time.
Right.
You can look at with the
The crime
takeover of the Capitol.
Oh, right.
A lot of those people got probation at home. All of them should have went to prison. All of them was
If it was us, they would have shot everybody.
They were traitors. If they were black, they'd be laying bodies, 10,000 bodies laying out there on the ground.
Absolutely.
All of those people was traitors. There's no such thing as this one got 3 months probation at home.
Right.
You should have got 300 years. That's what you should have got, because you tried to overthrow the government.
Yeah.
But they sugarcoated it, you know, because I'm being honest, Democrats ain't no different from Republicans. They ain't no different. Same thing, just a different name.
Same bird, two sides of a two.
Exactly. If the wrong group win with this election in November, you want to see, because you know every 25 years they got to sign the Civil Rights Bill all over again. Why? We built the country, and you telling me we not free? But everybody else come there free, and they holler, oh, those people came and they worked, they didn't come in chains.
Right.
That's what they don't look at. We went there in chains. And everything was against us. We couldn't. When I come up in days of segregation, buddy, trust me. It was some dark days. I experienced some dark things, you know, and I understood why my parents and my grandparents that experienced worse, they couldn't talk about it and never told us about it because of the pain.
Right.
And they didn't want us to share the pain that they were sharing. And so a lot of people say, I wonder why my mom didn't tell me this, or my grandmother didn't tell me this, or my they wanted to, but they couldn't. It was too painful. I didn't understand it till I got to be a man. And it was too painful. And this is what you're doing is, man, very educational. They go to show you a person any age is could learn. They could be 100 and come here and learn. Because I experienced things and learned things that I never knew existed. That I know I never been to the Slave River before, but I walked that path and I'll never forget it. I'll never in life, as long as I live, I don't know much I got left here, but I tell you what, I'll never forget them passing it down to my kids. As I told my kids about, you know, how the days of segregation, I told my kids. They know everything that happened to me, things how it went, how we had to ride the back of the bus, you know, and you know, how they treat us. Black policemen couldn't arrest nobody unless they was black.
Oh, wow.
You know, they had color jobs. Look, they had color jobs and they had white jobs in them days. You look at the paper for a job, didn't care how much intelligence you had, how educated you were. If you wasn't a doctor, a nurse, like that, you was considered as nothing. You could go there and go for a job and apply for the color job. All they wanted you to do was be porters and sweep and clean up toilets.
But you said something to me in one of our conversations. You talked about how when you went off the war.
I went to Vietnam.
Okay.
Got hurt in Vietnam. 2 years there. Come back, and I went to school for to be a CO2 specialist for the dry ice, making dry ice in the CO2 in the extinguisher. I came back and it was in the 60s from the war. When I come back and applied for the job, they had passed the Civil Rights Bill. They passed it in 64, but they didn't sign it until 1965. And when I applied for the job, the Civil Rights Bill had been signed. And the white guy brought me to his plant, and he, I guess, was testing to see whether I'm familiar with chemicals, how to perform with chemicals. to make it. That was the key part, performing the chemicals. So yeah, his machine was a little different from military. So he told me how to touch a few things. I asked where they were, and he showed it to me. And all of a sudden, I started mixing the chemicals and getting it together. And here come that big, pretty block of dry ice, come out smoking. Some people call it hot ice. Some people call it dry. Came out smoking, and I took the chemicals from that and filled a fire extinguisher with CO2. I took the CO2 off of that and filled a fire extinguisher. And the white guy told me, I've been in the war in mine, and even got hurt in the war. He told me, oh, I see you're a very smart boy, very intelligent boy. He said, my. He said, but I don't have color for this. He said, tell you what, he said, go in the closet and get the broom and the mop. He said, go out front, sweep the trash up out front, the paper out front, because he was next door to a city dump light. Where it's a disposal place where you dump your garbage and the wind blow it all in front of the ice house. He said, sweep that up. He said, when you get through, take that mop and go in the room and clean the toilet and mop the toilet out. I dropped everything. I was so hurt. Whew. It hurt me now. Whew. Man, it was rough. I was going to kill it. Honest to God. That's when I really wanted to kill. You tell me I want to serve my country. This is what I get? Not a job to take care of my family? Mm-hmm. So that's what really pushed me to take my own business. And eventually, that's why I ended up with 3 businesses. 3. I had 3 businesses and I had a job. That's what kept me going. And I'm glad I'm here today where I can relax. That's it. But I did everything, educate the children. So I'm pleased and happy today. But I never forgot and never will what I went through in life. But to tell me I can't do nothing but clean the toilet. Man, that hurt. I hate to even think about it.
What do you say to people who today say that we should just get over it? And because there'll be people, I just know how.
There's no way. How could you get over it? I mean, you're human. You have thoughts, don't you? Your mind go back. Everybody reminiscing. Mm-hmm. So how could you forget? They have a problem that they say get over it. I mean, that don't mean you stop living. Right. That don't mean you stop doing what you want to do. I made everything I wanted to be very happy. But that don't mean that I forgot what happened to me. And what happened to me in the past, like I said, it could happen to someone else in the future. They might not realize it because Americans very well known for fake freedom, thinking that they're free and they're not.
And changing narratives.
Right. If you think you're free, move in the wrong neighborhood. You find I don't care what part of America. I lived in every part of America you can live in. Any state you name in America, except for Hawaii and the last couple of them that they put on there. But all of them from Washington State to New York, I lived in every one of them. Every one of them. And I lived where we lived. I grew up in Iowa where there was only 5 black families.
I was going to say, you said Iowa and Idaho. I mean, in Minnesota.
And South Dakota, North Dakota. I lived in all of Wyoming. I lived in all of them. And me and my wife used to be the only ones in the town sometimes. We go in the supermarket and everybody looking at us. But so one place is no different from the other.
True. But coming here, you said you don't even feel that.
I don't. I feel no more. I feel acceptance. People is the people. You look around, everybody look like me. Yeah. And I like that. Yeah. But I mean, they have other people, but it's not, I don't feel as I'm a minority. I feel I'm a part of this majority. And, because the people, so you never meet people like Morris.
I was going to say, let's bring Morris in here.
Morris is unbelievable.
Let's bring Mr. Morris in here.
I mean,
what can we say? No, just come on, stand over here. Okay. You about to sit down and you about to change the whole camera setup.
Yeah, Morris is a great guy, man.
There you go. So Morris is part of Team Maximum Impact here in Ghana, and anyone who comes on the tour has the opportunity to meet him. And you know, the beautiful part about it is that everyone says the same thing about Morris in these interviews. If you go back and watch all of the interviews that the tour that Morris has been on, they'll all say the same thing about how he took care of them. And really, what Morris is doing is dispelling a lot of these narratives, because they tell us in America, you know, they don't like us over there. And Smokey Robinson got a whole video talking about how the Africans don't like us and won't see us as brothers and all of that. And I'm saying, and then he tells you that he hadn't even been here, so that's a whole other story. But it's like when you come and you meet people like Morris, who don't even have an agenda, living his life, and then you begin to see his genuine care for people. And that's the part. That's how we, again, as I'm echoing the same thing, everyone's echoing the same theme, see for yourself. Mm-hmm. Morris is just another example. And then we have Forsen back on the camera there. So, but Morris, what are these experiences like for you when you meet all these old bronies coming over here?
Yeah.
That's what they call it.
First and foremost, I would like to thank Jay and Maximum Impact for giving me the opportunity to be part of this revolution. Mm-hmm. I call it revolution because I see it as it is time for our brothers up there to come home. And I've psychic myself to do this to the end. And so I thank Jay for, giving me the opportunity. And when we see the Obronis, we call the whites the Obronis, and seeing them come here to exploit.
Explain Obroni, because somebody heard it. Like, wait a minute, what's going on?
We call the whites Obroni.
So the running joke is that people from America or Canada or places like that, black people from these places, they'll tease us and they'll give us the name Obroni. And they'll say, those Obronis over there, or Bibini Obroni, that's the other name. So if you go, even people from Ghana who go abroad and come back, then they have that running joke. So that was the running joke that I had there. So what is it like when you see all of these black folks come back, whether it's from Canada or America, but when you see us come back and come here, because some people say, well, you've never been before, so how you coming back? So coming here for the first time, what is that like for you to be a part of that?
Yeah, when I see you guys come down, I feel touched, and I feel so happy within myself. So happy within myself because I knew that you see a lot. Things that have been denied you as well as denied us too, because we were told stories. When I was growing up a boy in the 70s, 80s, what I went through in terms of language, the French told us English speaking countries that we are thieves, so that we will not, our brothers across the border will not, like us, and we also not like them.
So to put it into context, places like Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast, Togo, Burkina Faso, Mali, places like that. Those are French colonies.
They're French colonies,
and they told their African inhabitants that you all the English speaking, because Ghana's surrounded by French speaking country, where Ghana is an English colony.
Yeah.
And notice I didn't say was.
Yeah.
So
they made it difficult for some of us to learn French so that we can communicate with our brothers across the border. And they make it difficult for them to learn English so that they too can communicate with us. So as I speak with you now, if I'm to call a cousin or a brother across the border in Togo, just 200 kilometers from here, it costs so much. And because of that, you will not love to or like to call.
Because of the expense.
Because of the expense. But if I'm to call, because the call has to go to France before coming back to Africa. But if I'm to speak to a brother in America, I just speak and talk and talk and talk and talk. So this is what they did to put a wedge between us. And then I believe they did the same thing to our brothers in the diaspora. So I see, what I'm seeing now is the time is ripe for our brothers to come home. And when I see you, I'm so touched. I'm so happy. So within myself, I want to do everything to make you comfortable, to make you happy. When I was a child, when there's a fight in the house, I move out. When people are laughing, my moment of joy is when I see two people laughing. Even if they're arguing, even when I was in school, they are laughing, I enjoy it so much. Even when they are play about football match, about boxing, and they are arguing, I'll sit and look at them. I enjoy it so much. But as soon as it's going to tend to fight, I move out. I leave that place. So what I've been doing since my childhood, I see it as I'm being built up to come and be part of this revolution, so that I can do it well. Maybe what you are doing, you've been doing for years. You God or whatever it is training you to, bring us together.
Yeah.
The diaspora and we living here today. And so you are doing it well, so I have to do my part well. So this is it.
Well, I appreciate
You're doing it.
I appreciate it because the one thing that you did when I was interviewing you, you didn't know you were being interviewed. Because a lot of times I'm interviewing people, they don't even know that I'm like interviewing them for a position on the team. What you did, how you treated me, I knew how you would treat those who were coming. And I watched that and I said, okay. And the other thing that you did was you protected the integrity of what I'm doing. Because I worked with other people who didn't protect the integrity. And so with that, I was like, oh, okay, all right. So this is how this is. Okay, so I can't work with this person because that person didn't have, whether it was the maturity or whatever it was. And so because of that, I know opportunities will come your way far beyond Maximum Impact because of the people that you have a chance to meet.
Yeah.
And because of how you treat them. And so, like you said, you go back to childhood. And we all, if you listen to the stories, we all pull experiences from over the years, and it brings us to this point in our lives. And that's how it is in life. You live, and then you come together, and you're like, wow, I didn't see this coming together like this. But because of that, all of these gaps have been bridged. There are gaps being bridged between us and the African diaspora. We probably wouldn't have met each other. I might have met y'all in the DMV. I might have already met you before. But it's like I'm meeting people in Africa that I did not even know in the States. And that's another gap that's being bridged. And so that's why this is so important. And it's important for us to get this information, see it for ourselves, experience it for ourselves. Nobody can steal that from you. No one can take that from you. It is bigger than, again, it's bigger than a tour. It is us as a family of people who have been through collective experiences. All of these stories I couldn't have scripted. I write productions, and I could not have put all of this together. I would never imagine in all of my years that I would be doing this right now, but I'm so grateful and so thankful that I am. And I'm thankful for all of you for being a part of it. And so, hey everyone, does anybody have anything you want to close out with?
I like when we were at the river, you and I had a conversation.
Yeah.
And you ended it by saying, well, and that's how I would like for you to end this today, at this moment. The world would never.
I said the world will never come to an end if all my brothers do not come. The world will not come to an end if you will not be here. So the world will come to an end unless all our brothers come home. It's a cycle, and it needs to be completed. And so this is how I see it.
All right.
Yeah.
And
Jay, you are the connector.
Yeah.
And that
Thank you for that, because you connected
what
us.
really set the flame. And and he said it a little more eloquent, and I might have caught him off guard.
It's fine.
But the way that I took it, and I'm sure that's the way he was saying it, was that until the wrong that has been done is corrected, the world will continue to be in chaos. It will continue to go in the wrong direction.
Mm-hmm.
So we, when I say we, I'm talking the African descendants, the African people, and people of color. Until we are paid our dues, until our ancestors are truly risen and we are truly connected, then this chaos that's going on will continue. And that's the way I took it, and I believe that.
What I was going to say kind of leads on to what he said about the whole coming back together. Because as you saw before, I recognized certain things. And when we was driving along the way, I saw different posters and different things that I saw was them trying to turn Africa into America. I seen the posters with the straight hair. I saw little schoolgirls with straight hair and weave on their hair, and I'm like, in America we're going natural because we now know the beauty of our hair and we know it's healthier. A lot of us don't do the perms and all that stuff because we know it really messed up our hair, and I come here and I'm seeing them trying to change them to what we've been through and found our way out of. And I think that's another reason why we need to come back together to stop that before it goes too far. Because you look at the kids, you look at the people, they are beautiful. They are really beautiful. Their faces are it's just beauty.
Yeah.
And I would hate for them or the younger ones coming up to think that they have to do that now. We were the test dummies, so to speak. And we need to come back and show them that, no, you don't need to do that. Embrace your beauty, embrace your hair. Your shrinkage is healthy hair. It's not nappy hair. And, teach them how to handle that hair. And other things like the way they're dressing and some of the other things that I just observed. And I'm like, no, they're trying to Americanize them. And I think that would be a travesty.
Trying to American colonize them.
Yes. And so that goes on with, we need to come back together. Our people need to come back home, like I said earlier, to teach them, and they can teach us what we've lost. And, that's what I think.
No, that's powerful. That's powerful,
what
what
I
you
think.
said, because I've seen that a lot here also on the continent. One thing I realized is that for many of these countries, independence came, or perceived independence came roughly 60 years ago.
Right.
And so up until that time, they were under colonial rule. And so colonial education system, colonial entertainment, colonial indoctrinations. And so whereas for many of us in America, our decolonization process began, say, 1865. So if you take 1957, 1865, you're looking at almost 100-year difference. And so now you're seeing what they're facing now is the influence of the West, because the satellite dishes on mud homes, on $1 million homes, satellite dishes everywhere. What we can do as a part of the American African diaspora is with the content that we create. And so celebrating our natural features and showing the beauty and really showing the similarities. Because again, they tell us that we're different, but when you get down to them roots, you find out it's the same roots.
Dances, everything.
Same dances.
Pouring the alcohol out for
the libations.
for the loved ones. Yeah, they had a host. The naming ceremony. That was one thing that stuck out to me was they did the ritual, and then they had the alcohol poured out for the ancestors, and I'm like, people have been doing that in America, didn't even know where that came from,
Right, exactly. Pouring the wine on the coffin. I've been the second lines in New Orleans. That's what they do. If their friend go and they take the liquor, whatever they have as the coffin, they pour it on the coffin.
Isn't that something? And they told us we were so different. They tell us that we don't even come from here. That's how deep they got a whole movement trying to tell people that we don't even come from here. But when you see for yourself,
I just hope that we be who we are and stay who we are. Because I think they're beautiful. They don't need any extras with what God gave us that she was talking about. Don't need any extras. That's the way you are with me. Be that way because you're beautiful. I mean, I've seen some. I don't know what food they're eating, but man, they're healthy.
You see, there you go. There you go. There you go.
I don't see the pork chops, you know, and sirloins and stuff, but they're healthy. Good God, they're healthy. I just be looking and say, what did they eat?
I'm not even gonna comment.
No comment. Over here, right?
Boss, they don't have food stamps, do they? You don't even know what food stamps are, do you? He doesn't even know food stamps.
You don't even look for that people with food stamps, but golly, man, talking about these poor.
No, right.
They're richer than we'll ever be.
Yeah, when you see it, you grow everything
Rich in
in.
every way in health.
Yeah.
Man, we're being rich.
Yes.
But I appreciate some of the conversations I've had with Morris on the topic of colonialism, because like someone who studied history and then like getting that experience, and he'd be like, yeah, this is how they indoctrinated us, and it was the same stuff, you know. In my head, I'm like, oh yeah, they was teaching us about, like you said, conking your hair and at a certain point in history, and like burning your scalp, really, to have a certain, you know, texture or whatever. Yeah, so it's just the similarities, it's, you know. And then like you said, he was talking about colonial education, and you just see the similarities. So I think when you put the knowledge with the experience and you talk to them, you say, oh dang, they was trying those tricks with y'all, like recognizing those tricks, you know, recognizing it. And when you recognize it, then you can really start that unlearning of a lot of things. And I think people all over the world, Africans all over the world, but I mean, I think we all in that process of unlearning certain things. And then with this trip, it's like, okay, you unlearn, so what do you replace it with, right?
Yeah.
So we have a culture that we can tap into and lean into, you know. So that was the big takeaway.
No, these are huge takeaways.
Mm-hmm.
And what I want everybody to do is up to you. Nobody's going to do it for you. Nobody's going to teach you for you. You're going to have to go and get a lot of this information for yourself, and that's what we're creating here. Maximum Impact is it is a revolution. It's an educational movement, so that's why you look at a lot of my content, and I put educational content out. As far as I'm not afraid to go down any road I need to go down, because if I don't do it and I know it, then I'm a co-conspirator of the crime. I'm a part of the problem. And so when people come and see and have these experiences, whether it's in Ghana, whether it's in Tanzania, whether it's in Egypt, whether it's South Africa, Senegal, Ethiopia, wherever we go, what you can rest assured is that you're going to walk away with a well-rounded experience. We want you to have the fun, and you're going to have lots of fun. But we also want you to take away something that when you go back, you can share of lasting value with your family and your friends. So again, everybody, listen, I want to thank you as we wrap this up. I want to thank you for joining us on this Maximum Impact Travel Experience. You all know what you should do. If you want to be a part of the experience, go to MaximumImpactTravel.com. Be sure to follow the channel, subscribe, like, and share. Let people know what we're talking about. You can follow me on IG at JCameronOfficial. You can also follow the travel movement at Maximum Impact Travel on IG. And of course, on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe to Maximum Impact with Jay Cameron. And until next time, take care, be safe.
Open up your eyes and see all the fun and mystery. Take an African adventure with Darren and Destiny. From the mountains to the shore, so many things to explore. Take an African adventure with Darren and Destiny.
The Adventures of Darren and Destiny. And Darren and Destiny are twin brother and sister, and you go on their adventures throughout the African diaspora, meaning so African diaspora destinations, primarily focused in Africa, but we go to South America, we're going to go to the Caribbean. Their first book is going to take you to Ghana, and then we're going to go on a safari, and from there we're going to go to Ethiopia, and then we go to Salvador, Brazil. And what the goal is to be able to inspire curiosity in the continent of Africa, in our children from a very young age, and to really tell a more accurate story. Most of our children are exposed to negative images, late night infomercials about how bad things are, everybody's sick, everybody's poor, everyone's uneducated, but that's simply not true. So what Darren and Destiny and their family do is they go to different African destinations. They are learning about these different places. You're beginning to see positive images, but still telling the truth. I mean, that's the important thing, to tell the truth about some of the things that have occurred. But it's all done on our children's level so they begin to understand it. And it begins to pique their curiosity. They begin to learn more. And hopefully one day they will want to explore and visit the continent of Africa and its many countries. There's just so much that Darren and Destiny are able to do, and as they're doing it, it's like they begin to open the minds of a new generation, and they don't get bombarded and indoctrinated with negativity. They're actually able to see positivity and inspiring images and messages about the African diaspora, as well as those who are still indigenous to the continent of Africa, and they begin to learn more and just see things differently. So I'm excited about introducing the adventures of Darren and Destiny.